exposé series that Texnova has been organizing for quite some time now. We've treated several topics that touch on several areas of our individual careers and how it relates with the work or the job that we do. Okay, so today is not going to be an exception. Today's webinar is one of those series that is designed to help you level up and take a leap in your career. After this webinar, you are going to find out that you have just made a quantum leap in terms of your career aspiration and your career progression. All right. So we want to officially kickstart when we talk about learning agility. Timing is of the essence. Timing is very important when it comes to this particular topic that we are going to be treated or that we are going to be treating today. All right. So on this note, I want to introduce us to the title of today's webinar. Okay. How you can use learning agility to actually attain career success. It is very important that you have this in your mind. You have to understand that leveraging learning agility to accelerate your career success is the title of today's webinar. All right. We want to, you want to agree with me that the way learning is done today is different from the way it was 5-10 years ago. And it is very important that you understand this reality. Learning is not the way it used to be. It's not the rigid or the traditional learning patterns that we are used to that is obtainable today. All right. So to do justice to the subject matter today is none other person than Mr. Shola Oyegbade. All right. So let me quickly do a short citation on the person of Mr. Shola Oyegbade. Can you hear me? Okay, so I want to believe we can all hear me. If you can hear me, just use an emoji to actually signify that you can hear me. You can just use maybe the like or the thumbs up emoji or the applause, just so I'm sure that we are on the same page. All right, I can see thumbs up from Mr. Shola. Okay, who else? Okay, I can see from Toby. Who else? Okay, from Ijeoma Chinelo. I can see your thumbs up. All right. Okay, I want more. Okay. Okay, Sheung, not Toby. All right. Okay, so let me just do a quick citation on the person of Mr. Shola Oyegbade, SPHRI-ACPIM-HROPL. He currently serves on as the managing partner of Flex Solution, all right, Limited, a company specializing in human capacity building and organizational development. He's been one of the very reliable faculty when it comes to issues like this or come to topics like this. Flexi Solution is known for providing flexible and functional and result-oriented solutions to managing people, driving learning, facilitating development, tracking employee performance, and improving business growth. All right. Because of time, I will just probably skip some of the paragraphs or some of the aspects of his profile and just reel out the key areas. He has more than 27 years of experience in the financial service industry. Shola has worked for top financial institutions, including FSB International Bank, Fidelity Bank, First City, Monument Bank, and Asset and Resource Management Holdings Company Limited. He holds an MBA from Lincoln University, Auckland, CA, USA, and a certificate in leadership from Harvard Division of Continuing Education, Boosting, Massachusetts, USA. Shola has honed his skills in diverse areas such as organizational development, performance management, learning and knowledge management, life coaching, leadership and team building, project management, relationship management, creative thinking and system design, talent management, measuring training impact, and return on investment analysis. All right, for the sake of time, I will want to stop there and invite Mr. Shola Oyebade to take over the baton for today's webinar. Thank you so much, Mr. Shola. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Pius. Please, can you confirm you could hear me loud and clear? Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can hear you very well, sir. I can hear you.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So thank you so much, Pius, for having me join you on this very interesting platform for HR conversation. And I must, first and foremost commend this great initiative on the part of Dexnova Consulting. Indeed, you are consistently demonstrating your leadership and your commitment to building capacity, within the HR space and all other professional aspects within the corporate Nigeria, and I dare say outside of Nigeria. So thank you so much for having me this evening. Interestingly, it's a Friday, and I believe that it's a good way to wrap up the week, if you ask me. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I know Friday in Lagos can be very interesting, whereby you have some plan to do some follow-ups, whether you are making yourself available for follow-ups as a lady, or you are planning to do some follow-up as a guy. But nonetheless, I salute your courage and your commitment to personal development and learning for joining this Dexnova HR Exposé series. Okay, so without further ado, I am going to request that you give me right to share my slides. I hope I'm still disabled. Pius, I need to project my slides, please.
Okay, Toby will make that happen quickly. Toby, please give our facilitator the right to share the slides.
So while we are trying to get me up, I would like for everyone on this call, just give me one word. How has your week been? How has it been for you? Use one adjective to qualify your week experience so far. One adjective, my own, is that it has been fantastically engaging. I just left a strategy session that I set out to facilitate, in the morning. At about 6 o'clock, I set out of the house, and just about an hour before this time, I rushed back home. So you can already picture, lovely, I can see productive and engaging. Let me see what do you have? What do you have there? Okay. Okay. Pius is productive and engaging. All right. I want to hear from everybody, please. Please. Now, this is part of learning. All right. Your ability to respond, and which is part of what we're going to be looking at, agility, is how rapidly, all right, how quickly, how fast can you respond to situations going on around you? You are here already. You know what I used to say, even if you were forced to attend the training, I always say to people that the moment that you realize that you don't have any choice but to be in that training, don't let it be a double jeopardy, whereby probably you wanted to be with your girlfriend, you have been denied the, that privilege, and now you are in a training. So it is better you just make up your mind to optimize and to get everything that you can get from that particular engagement. So thank you very much for those who have responded. Akin said productive. Adewale Favor said it's stressful. Yes, I want to believe that it's, we have positive stress and negative. I want to believe that that's a very positive one. And Otolori says it's been fantastic. Excellent. Thank you so much, everybody, for giving me an idea of how your week has been. Now it is 6:15, and I'm going to bring up my slide now to facilitate this conversation this Friday evening. So give me 1 second, I would figure that out. All right. And I will need somebody to confirm the moment you can see my screen. Okay. All right, please, could you confirm if my slide is up? Excellent, thank you, Dexnova Consulting. Whoever is behind that screen, thank you so much for your responsiveness. I appreciate it. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. So the conversation today, it's one that I consider very, very topical, needful, critical, crucial, important, whatever adjective you want to give to it. It's as a matter of saying that it is a matter of life or life. I don't want to say death. Because again, the moment you take out learning from your living, you actually take living from your life. So that is why you realize that a lot of words around learning has been put out there that learning is living is learning. All right, when you stop learning, you start dying. All right, and learners are leaders. All those cliche and phraseology, as the case may be, they sound so good, but I can tell you, they are also equally profound. They are equally very profound. And I used to say that everything created is always created with capacity to function. Because everything created is created with capacity to function, every human being is created with the capacity to learn. Capacity to learn. Because it is in learning that we find fulfillment in living. When you stop learning, you realize that life will be characterized with a lot of frustration, a lot of stagnation, and a lot of constipation, if I can use that word. So ladies and gentlemen, I am excited about the subject of our conversation this evening, which is leveraging, taking advantage of learning agility. So it is not just about learning now. We are looking at learning in a particular way, in a particular mind frame or mindset. And we are looking at the mindset of agility, all right? Plug the mindset of agility into your learning. And that is what we are saying. If you do that, given all that is going on in the world today, you would have successfully equipped yourself with the necessary tools to accelerate your career success. If you are with me, I just want everybody going to the chat room and just type the word check. C-H-E-C-K, check, 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 check. I want to know that you are with me. You are with me. All right, just drop check, 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 check for me. And be ready to use your chat room as often as I would demand of you this evening. Okay, right. 1 minute, please. I need to sort out something. I'm waiting to see your check, check, check in the chat room. And what you are also going to be using check for is your check is a confirmation that whatever I have said, you understood or you grasp. And anything I say that you don't understand, you just give me on check. unchecked, which means I need to go back to that, statement or that subject, whatever it is, and represent it to you. Everything I'm going to say here today, you must be able to check it for me. That check, 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 check. Otherwise, you can uncheck whenever I come across ambiguous and unclear and probably, not straightforward as the case may be. 1 minute, please, and we're going to get into the art of the conversation. Okay. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, this evening, this is what I have on the menu for you. So in other words, what it means is that we have all checked in to Dexnova restaurant. But in this restaurant, what is being served is not your typical menu. It is the food for your mind, the food for your brain, the food for your mental capacity as it is. And this is what we are going to be snacking on. At some point, it can get a bit, tough for some of us. And whenever we get to that point, you can ask me to help you use knife to slice whatever you consider tough. All right, and you're going to be able to digest it at the end of the day. Because at the end of the day, we must all be able to walk out of this meeting with implementable ideas, all right? So having said that, I will paint the background for why we are looking at leveraging learning agility to accelerate or pace your career success. Then we're going to look at what exactly is learning agility, why learning agility, a case study of Mark and Sarah, why Mark missed the mark, and why Sarah was able to use learning to accelerate her success. Then we're also going to look at learning agility framework. That's a framework, all right, that all of us can follow and internalize and use that to help ourselves in our career, all right? And also, I'm going to be asking you this very important question. Where are you currently in your career? Where? Perhaps you need to be able to take a quick check and evaluate where are you, all right, in your career. Then moving on, I will share with you the learning agility matrix. Learning agility matrix will basically tell you 2 drivers of learning agility, 2 things that drives learning agility. Each time you are talking about, when you talk about X and Y axis, and you'll be looking about 4 dimensions of learning agility. Then how can you as individual, all right, adapt the learning agility concept or the concept of learning agility? And also wrapping up, I'm going to ask you what next. What are the next steps for you? All right, the goal of learning is transformation. After this training, I would expect some aspect of your life to be transformed. There must be some level of shift, okay, that you should be able to achieve in your career after this night's conversation. So ladies and gentlemen, and I will give you my closing charge. Now, so in terms of background, many of you have come across this statement before. And it was a very audacious statement made by Peter Drucker, considered to be the father of the modern day management. And when people like that speak, it's coming from a very deep, reflection. And he said several decades ago that the world in that era, all right, was an era of accelerated change, overwhelming complexity, tremendous competition, and lightning communication. Can you just reflect on that a bit? So in other words, he was telling us several decades back that the world was going through, some massive change, some overwhelming complexities around, and competition was intense. And of course, the communication is happening at the speed of thought. That's to borrow the the language of Bill Gates. When he wrote his own book also, almost about 2 or 3 decades ago as well, he wrote the book, Business at the Speed of Thought. In other words, it was alluding to the fact that things are happening so rapidly with the speed that nobody can be able to catch up with it. And in that same breath, what Peter Drucker said and what Bill Gates also stated in his book has been properly captured in today's world. And that is why I'm going to ask you, how many of us know and agree that we are living in a VUCA world? In a VUCA world. If you can help me, whoever gets exactly what I've mentioned now, help me drop VUCA in the chat. In the chat room, drop the word VUCA there. Drucker said, and what Bill Gates said is encapsulated in the word or in the acronym called VUCA, where V is standing for volatility, that the level of volatility in the world today is unparalleled. And beyond volatility, sorry, I needed to be able to manage, to track what is going on in the chat room. So that's why I had to put on my phone. Thank you. Right. So V is for volatility, U stands for uncertainty, C stands for complexity, and A stands for ambiguity. Now, when you look at this word, it simply means that the rate of change in the world today is at an unprecedented rate, whereby the level of change is what is determining the pace of business. So the pace of your growth as a business will be determined with your ability to cope, all right, or to adapt or to respond positively to changes that is happening, all right, within your operating environment. Then when you're talking about uncertainty, in other words, all of us, let me just quickly use what we experienced during COVID-19. COVID-19, in fact, was a classic example of everything that we have under VUCA. During COVID-19, we know that the environment became so volatile. It became so uncertain. Nobody knew exactly where the solution would come from. Everything that they were doing then were just trial and error. Then the level of complexity also was at another level. And lastly, ambiguity, that is, people are unclear. Nobody knows the direction. All your visioning at the beginning of 2020, all your strategic, retreat and all of that, all your business plan, everything was thrown into the trash as a result of the VUCA of the environment that COVID-19 presented us there. So ladies and gentlemen, you know that this is the background to what we are discussing today. Because we could have just said that, okay, let us leverage learning, all right, to accelerate our career. But if we are talking about you leveraging learning, because we know that knowledge is power, but execution trumps knowledge, right? If you say that, come, let us just leverage learning, it is not doing justice to the kind of mental posture that today's world requires from any forward-thinking and forward-looking professional or entrepreneur. So if you're a forward-thinking or a forward-looking entrepreneur, today's world requires that you must embrace a different kind of mindset, which is called agile mindset. But beyond agile mindset, your ability to apply that mindset into your learning or your learning orientation or your learning preference, the way you learn as it is what will differentiate you and probably set you apart from your competition. So ladies and gentlemen, If you understood what I've explained in terms of the background to why we are looking at this subject today, all right, I need you to give me check in the chat room. Just give me check that you are still following me, and I've not lost anybody yet. Even if you are in a bus going somewhere, I want to believe that you are still on the right course. Okay, and I'm going to appeal to you. When I ask everybody, drop check for me. All right, I would like it to be everybody. Interesting. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, moving on, what is learning agility? And I would like somebody to answer the guess. Give me an idea. Now we all know what learning is. And I know that by mere definition of agility, somebody should be able to piece something together and make an attempt to describe or to define what is learning agility. Please, very quickly.
Good evening.
Very quickly. Learning agility. Drop it for me in the chat room, please. Learning agility. What is learning agility? Learning fast. Thank you. Who said that? Okay, so let me tell you what is happening with my phone. I'm sure you have seen that the word check dropped earlier on. The next one, another check dropped. Then now learning fast dropped. I wasn't the one typing it. My phone was speaking and was responding to my question on my behalf. Can you beat that? I wasn't the one, I wasn't typing. But it was just dropping it as I was asking you to give me something, it was responding as well. I think we are in for a great time. The world of AI, where all your conversations have been listening to. Ladies and gentlemen, the more reason why nobody can afford to learn, just like what Pius told you, the rules of engagement is changing. All right, the rule of engagement is changing, and therefore you also must change the way you engage, all right, within this era that we find ourselves. So let me see, I can't see anybody's comment in the chat room yet. Oh, somebody said I typed it. Who typed it? Who typed it?
I think I can see Ijoma Nacheta.
Oh, okay. How come you are appearing as me? Oh, can you imagine? You have made everybody me on my phone. Is that what happened?
So no, I guess the person joined.
Is that what happened? Interesting. All right, because I'm not able to now know who is typing, who is dropping. All right, but I know that phones sometimes will be responding to you. I don't understand what you are saying. I thought they've taken it to another level. Okay, so learning agility is about learning from experience and applying it in new ways, adapting to new circumstances and opportunities. Perfect, you're right, whoever that is. So ladies and gentlemen, learning agility actually refers to an individual's ability and willingness to learn. That's the first thing. Your ability and willingness to learn. Why? Because everyone, like I mentioned earlier on, I didn't finish that line of thought, that everyone has capacity to learn. Because capacity to learn is a gift. Why? Everything is created with capacity to function. So the person that there is the place of ability to learn. Why? Ability to learn is a skill which you have to develop over time. And beyond ability to learn, even with your capacity and ability, learning may still not happen. Why? Because it takes willingness to learn for learning to actually happen. That is why in defining learning agility, it is speaking to your own ability and willingness to learn from new experiences, not just from new experiences, but to quickly acquire and apply it to your current situation or current circumstances as the case may be. And of course, effectively also responding to complex issues, complex challenges around you. When you demonstrate this on the job, everybody will see you demonstrating what is called learning agility. It involves you being open to new ideas. You are not the type that shuts people down as soon as you realize that what they are saying is different from your viewpoint or your own point of view. And of course, you are the type that's always seeking out opportunities for growth and development. And you are also the type that is always quick to transfer that which you have learned, that which you have acquired on the job, or to solve any given problem that you have. So in essence, all right, learning agility simply means your ability to continually and rapidly, that's the key word, continually and rapidly learn, unlearn, and relearn. I'm sure that some of us will know that we say that illiterate of the 21st century
I think Mr. Shola seems to be having some network glitch. Let's just hold on while he tries to resolve that.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir.
I lost connectivity for some seconds.
Yes, sir. So we can hear you loud and clear now.
Am I back?
We can hear you now.
Excellent. All right, good. So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, that is what learning agility is about. Remember that it has to do with your ability and your willingness, all right, to learn from new experiences, okay? And it has to do with your being able to consistently, all right, and rapidly learn, unlearn, and relearn, all right, mental models, practices from a variety of experiences. So your ability to recall, your ability to apply, your ability to implement, your ability to put into use the knowledge that you have acquired over time. That is why I always say to people, training is not enough. Training cannot guarantee learning, all right? Learning is a process and a continuous one, all right? In other words, for you to be able to get anything meaningful or tangible out of your learning acquisition, it means that you must apply it. You must do what you must apply it. So ladies and gentlemen, moving on. So why learning agility? I think I would love to read a case study to you, all right, about Mark and Sarah. Mark and Sarah. Let me see if I can get that out. Just listen to it as I try to read it out to you. I pray I'm able to do this in a GV because it's important that you, okay, good. So let me introduce you to Sarah. All right, Sarah is a mid-level professional, all right, who started her career in marketing a few years ago, rapidly changing with new technologies and platforms emerging. Recognizing the importance of continuous learning, Sarah proactively sought out opportunities. Please take note of some of the specific action points from this story. Sarah proactively sought out opportunities to develop her learning agility. She attended industry conferences, participated in webinars like this one, and enrolled in online courses to stay updated on the latest marketing trends and strategies. Sarah embraced every chance to take on new projects that challenged her skills and expanded her knowledge. As she faced unfamiliar situations, Sarah demonstrated adaptability and a willingness to learn from her experiences. As she faced unfamiliar situations, she was able to navigate through applying new knowledge that she has acquired. When her company introduced a new social media platform, guess what happened? Sarah eagerly took the lead in exploring its potential and developed innovative marketing campaigns that yielded impressive results for her and her company. Sarah's learning agility allowed her to quickly adapt to the changing landscape, seize opportunities, and of course, outperform her peers. Her ability at the end of the day to learn from experiences and apply that new knowledge not only earned our recognition within our organization, but also opened doors to exciting career advancement for her. Sarah's journey indeed highlights the transformative power of learning agility in driving career growth and success. That is about Sarah. On a positive light, on a positive note, she leveraged learning agility. Now listen to the story of Mark. And I love to say this story is about how Mark missed the mark. All right, how Mark missed the mark. So Mark was clearly a talented professional who started his career with great promise in the field of finance. Initially, Mark showcased exceptional skills and knowledge that propelled him forward in his career. However, as time went on, Mark's attitude, take note of that, towards learning took a drastic downturn, and he began to ignore valuable opportunities to expand his knowledge and skills. Mark became complacent and, of course, convinced that his existing level of expertise would be sufficient to maintain his success in the workplace. So he turned a blind eye to professional development programs, networking events, and industry conferences, diminishing them as unnecessary for his growth. And of course, unfortunately, Mark failed to recognize that the finance industry was evolving rapidly, embracing new technologies, and of course, innovative practices. So his refusal to adapt and learn left him ill-equipped to navigate the challenging landscape. As a consequence, Mark struggled to keep up with the emerging financial regulations, failed to leverage new tools and platforms, and fell behind in implementing best practices in his organization. Ladies and gentlemen, meanwhile, his peers who actively pursued continuous learning began surpassing him, securing promotions, and of course, taking on challenging roles. So Mark's career growth came to a halt, and he found himself stuck in a stagnant position, far from where he had once envisioned himself to be. So the missed opportunities for growth and advancement weighed heavily on Mark's professional trajectory, as his limited knowledge and skills no longer met the demands of the industry. Ladies and gentlemen, it became apparent that Mark's decision to ignore learning opportunities had a significant impact, terrible one, on his career, truncating his potential for success. Ladies and gentlemen, these are not hypothetical stories per se, but I use the hypothetical scenarios to bring the facts out. But the point was that I actually worked with Mark. I worked with Mark at some point, and I also trained Sarah at some point in my former work when I was in one of the top commercial banks in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, I have some post questions on these two stories that I've asked you. Unfortunately, we are not able to project the post, but but I'm going to ask you the questions from the post nonetheless. And I think I sent it to Pius. Let me try and fetch it out, because unfortunately I thought I was going to be able to. If you're still with me, please go into the chat room and give me check, please. Check. Particularly if you followed that story, the story of Sarah, who was able to leverage learning to advance her career success, and the story of Mark, how he missed the mark. Please give me checks in the chat room. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, guys. All right, so now this is the question I have for you. And the first question, all right, is on Sarah's story. Have you, so I'm drawing, not necessarily asking you a question about that story, but I'm drawing from that story to ask you a very pertinent question regarding learning opportunities, okay? So now listen to this question. Have you actively pursued continuous learning opportunities in your career? Otolori, Pius, Afonja, everybody on this call, drop for me three things, three of any of these options. It's either it is a yes, no, or sometimes. Have you actively, the key word is actively, pursue continuous learning opportunities in your career? By the way, ladies and gentlemen, I'm a life coach, all right? I'm a certified life coach. And as much as possible, I integrate coaching methodologies into my training. And one key thing that you can know about life coaching is life coaching leverage on powerful questions to be able to elicit or uncover solutions for the client. So I love asking questions, and you need to be able to respond accordingly so that as you are responding, you are unlocking something within yourself. Thank you for being sincere. I think Otolori says sometimes, Otolori, how come it's only Otolori? And say, oh, okay, that's no why. Thank you. You've dropped it in the chat room. Excellent. That was very smart of you. So that's it. Now, so no. Now, for those of you that you said no, I can tell you, for you to remember this training forever for life, you must write it down right now. That start pursuing continuous learning opportunities in your career. Write it down and put a date when you are going to start the first enrollment. Because at the end of the day, let me tell you this, training must be able to deliver 4 things for you. 4 things. Any training, if you go to Harvard, go to MIT, wherever you go, if the training fails to give you 4 things, then that training has failed woefully. The very first thing training must help you to decide upon is what you must start doing after that training, or what you're going to stop doing as a result of that training, or what you're going to do more of after that training, or what you're going to do less of after that training. So I can already tell you clearly now, everybody that said no, please put it there that start doing. So put it under your start doing, that you must at least have a continuous professional development plan for yourself, and you must put a date to it when you're going to start. If you will have to borrow money to start, please borrow money, because it is that important and critical for your survival and, of course, for your next level. So that said, for those of you that said yes, congratulations. But what it simply means that you have to move to do more, all right? Go to under do more and write this same statement there. And those of you that said sometimes, you also need to move into do more, all right? And make sure that you are more consistent about it. Please, can you give us the second question, please? Drop the second question. While the second question is coming, he said, how important do you think learning agility is for career growth and success? All right, extremely important, important, somewhat important, not very important, not important at all. You know, the moment you engage your brain to query whatever is being presented to you, the brain is taking action already. The brain is taking action already. And that is how adults also learn. Thank you so much. I can say comment in the chat room. Comment in the chat room. Extremely, extremely, extremely. So if it is extremely important, what that simply means is that it becomes a non-negotiable, attribute that you must develop. It becomes a non-negotiable skills that you must speak of. It becomes a non-negotiable, competence that you must develop. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. That is on Sarah's level. Now let's look at Mark. I have 2 questions under Mark as well. All right. Have you ever felt complacent and ignored learning opportunities in your career? The same response, yes, no, or sometimes. And I will tell you the interpretation of each of the answers. Have you ever felt complacent and ignored learning opportunities? Let me see. Comment. Sometimes, okay? That's just being human. All right. Sometimes no. Oh, Adelion, that's excellent. That's excellent. You have never ever felt complacent. Oh, it's yes, no, yes. Which is which? Okay, I love that. So now let me tell you the implication of this. If you are not conscious, you are not aware when you slip into complacency, it is dangerous. So that's why I love the person that said yes, okay? Because it means that you must be able to demonstrate presence of mind when you are, Hello, it went off again?
Yes, it did, sir. Welcome back.
Are you with me now? Can you see my slide back now?
We can hear you, but okay, we can see your slide now. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your understanding. All right. So moving on, let me see. So the last question, says that, do you believe that actively seeking out learning opportunities is necessary to stay relevant in today's rapidly changing industries? Your responses should be absolutely necessary, somewhat necessary, not necessary, unsure or neutral. Unsure or neutral. Please drop it in the chat room. And by the way, I noticed that we have more people on the call now. I would appreciate if you could also participate in this this poll. Okay, thank you. I can see comments coming in already. Let me see. All right, I think this is unanimous. Absolutely necessary. Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely necessary. Absolutely necessary. Okay, excellent. Now, the reason why this question is also very important is that we all agree right now that you cannot use yesterday's mentality to deal with today's reality. So if you stop learning, you are simply using yesterday's mentality to want to navigate through today's reality. And that is where or why learning agility is now important. You have to continually and rapidly learn, unlearn, and relearn. You can never be tired of learning, and you can never be, there's no overlearning. There can be information overload, but there is nothing called overlearning. Nobody can ever overlearn. According to Socrates, Socrates says, the more I know, the more acutely I become aware of my ignorance. You get that? The more I know in terms of knowledge, he says that the more I acquire knowledge, the more I become aware that I'm actually ignorant. So there is no over learning. There can be information overload, all right? Like it might happen even in the course of this training because of the time frame. And this is a very tough conversation. So moving on, ladies and gentlemen. So moving on, I'm just going to tell you that there are 5 aspects of learning agility. And it starts from self-awareness. And from self-awareness, there's mental agility. Why? Because everything you do stems from your mind. And the more you are able to manage your mind and manage the kind of information that you absorb, the kind of knowledge that you acquire will determine the kind of results you'll be able to generate. Because your information, what to know, determines what to do. And what to do determines the result you get. And if you don't like the results you are getting, then you have to check what you know. And when you check what you know, when you see the gap, you close the gap, you realize that you start getting new results. Particularly when you close the gap and you apply the knowledge that you have acquired, you're going to start seeing new results. And another thing you also need is the people agility. People agility speaks to how easily do you cope with diversities within the organization, diversities in people, divergence of views when people are talking. Most people that shut other people down, they lack what I call learning agility. Okay, and of course, what is your change agility? How fast, how quickly do you respond to changes within your organization or around you, as the case may be? As a matter of fact, your motivation determines your performance. And your motivation, I put it this way, that emotions drive people and people drive performance. In other words, when you have problem with your performance, check your emotion, check your motivation, check your state of mind. And once you can alter or amend or adjust your state of mind, trust me, your performance will change. And I'm saying this also to some of us that we are leaders, we are team leads, we are unit heads, we are managers, all right? And we have people reporting to us. When you are having issue with their results, try and check, with their level of motivation, or check their level of emotional connection to the work. It's a function of connecting with the heart for them to release the best of their head. But most of the time, we just connect with the head, and guess what? They can never give you the best that you need. So I'm moving away from that. But in terms of this particular question is important. Where are you currently in your career? This will have also been a very good poll question, but I'm asking you directly. Please look at my screen if you can see it. The first question is, are you currently satisfied? And you need to do this. Are you currently satisfied with your career progression and growth opportunities? So give me A, B, C, D, or, so A says very satisfied, B is somewhat satisfied, C is neutral, D is somewhat dissatisfied, and E is very dissatisfied. Drop the comment in the chat room right now. Number 2 says, are you actively seeking new career opportunities or considering a career change? Now, for some of you in Dexnova, I know that this might be a bit tricky for you, that, if I said I'm actively considering, won't I be putting myself on the spot? Well, you don't, in fact, don't respond in the chat room, but again, for you to really know whether you are developing the learning agility, there are certain things that you need to do. And one of them is for you to evaluate where you are right now, okay? So that you know whether you are far from where you are supposed to be. And the gap, now listen to this, and please write this down. Help me type this in the chat room. The gap, all right, between where you are and where you are supposed to be is learning. Learning. In other words, anytime ladies and gentlemen, if you are still with me, please drop me check in the chat room. Drop me check in the chat room. So the third question, so mentally process this question and make sure that you answer them. What are your primary career goals at this stage of your professional journey? Okay, and I have very interesting options for you there. The first one is advancement within the current organization. So in other words, somebody can still really want to aspire to be the MD CEO, all right, of Dexnova, or whichever organization you are representing right now. Or it might be that transition to a new industry or field, or expanding skill sets, or acquiring new certification within the same job function that you are doing. And of course, the other one can be starting my own business on entrepreneurship. Now, this is a personal training. And that is why, again, if you can't connect with it, all right, it will not, you will not be able to do anything with it. And that's why I'm, presenting it to you from this point of view of you being able to say, okay, we are discussing learning agility. How can I begin to leverage on this? How can I begin to use it to pace myself? How can I use it to advance my career progression as well? So these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. And the fourth one said, how would you describe your current level of job security? And the last one says, are you currently in a position that aligns with your long-term career aspirations or goals? So ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get this slide, okay? But I would like for you, make sure that you answer it. And depending on what your answer is, use that to navigate, a plan or to put a plan in place for yourself. Hello?
Yeah, we are with you, sir.
Oh, okay.
I can hear you, sir.
All right, good.
But we couldn't see your screen for a while.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought my screen is still on. All right. So that's my screen, but you need this particular question. You must answer it before this training can be rewarding for you. Okay. So you have to be able to answer it. Okay. Moving on, ladies and gentlemen. I told you earlier on that the learning agility matrix is actually a function of two things. There are two factors that determines where you stand in terms of learning agility. All right. We have learning agility is a function of learning ability and learning orientation. Learning ability and orientation. So where your ability is low and your orientation is low, you are an average learner. When your ability to learn, which is the skill, and your orientation in terms of your disposition to learning, do you embrace learning? Do you love learning? Do you test after learning? All right. Do you invest in learning? Okay. Do you seek opportunities to learn? All right. If it is low, then you are an average learner. Okay. But when your ability is high, learning ability is high, and your learning orientation is low, you are latent. You are a latent learner. And where your learning ability is low and your learning orientation is high, you are a learning enthusiast. You are somebody that is generally tickled by learning. You are excited by learning, all right? But you don't do much with what you have learned. That is why your learning ability is low. But you're always excited. Anywhere you love going for conferences, you love going for seminar and all of that, but you don't apply what you learn from that, all those places that you go. But where I think the reason why Dexnova has chosen to invest in this particular time, all right, and this conversation is to move all of us on this call to become high potential learner. High potential learner are also high performers on the job. Why? Because their learning ability is high and their learning orientation is high. And when that comes together, that is the real definition of learning agility, all right? And what I didn't tell you earlier on when I presented VUCA to you is that for you to survive in a VUCA world, you also need a VUCA mindset to be able to excel, to be able to thrive in a VUCA world. But the new VUCA, the VUCA mindset that you need to be able to excel in a VUCA world, it starts with vision. You must know where you are going, what you want. You must begin with the end in mind in your career, begin with the end in mind in your organization, begin with the end in mind in whatever you want to do. Be able to have a vision statement for yourself and have an idea of your reason for being. But beyond that, you must, the you in the VUCA mindset that you need to conquer the VUCA in the world, it's about understanding. Please, somebody help me type vision in the chat room. Vision, the first vision, the first VUCA mindset that you need is vision. The second one is understanding. Understanding is your ability to actually stay open, all right, and maintain an open mindset, which I also call growth mindset. So when you stay open, definitely you will be able to counter the uncertainties that we have in the world today. And the C for the mindset that you need is clarity. Everybody drop clarity in the chat room for me. Drop clarity in the chat room for me. So clarity would help you to be able to deal with the complexities that we have in the world today. And the last bit is the agility, which is the reason why I decided to bring it up now. Agility will help you to deal with the ambiguity that we have in the world today. And it sounds so cliche-ish. It sounds like some nice, phraseology. But no, when you look at it in practical sense, vision will take you further. Understanding will keep you in the face of uncertainty. Clarity will help you to deal with complexities, and agility will help you to contend, squarely with ambiguity. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the learning matrix. You need to ask yourself, where do you really stand right now? Are you average learner, latent, or enthusiast? But however, everyone on this call, because you have invested your time, your Friday evening, you must make every effort to increase your learning ability, increase your learning orientation, and make yourself a hyper potential learner and performer in your organization. So moving on, ladies and gentlemen, there are 9 dimensions of learning agility. And guess what? You must embrace, as a matter of supreme urgency, you must embrace all of them and start to internalize them, start to demonstrate them, start to make people see. When they see you, they must see that you are flexible, that you apply speed, that you are experimenting, that you have, you have performance risk taking. In other words, you are a risk taker, calculated risk, by the way. And of course, interpersonal risk taking also, then collaborating, information gathering, feedback seeking, and reflecting. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that these are self-explanatory. So for you to demonstrate yourself as an agile learner, you must stay flexible, all right? And not only stay flexible, you must apply speed into your learning. Because again, as long as we know that quality is superior to speed, but the moment you understand where you are going, the next thing you need to do is to apply speed. Because I also always preach and I always tell people that, again, that direction is superior to speed. But once you have gotten your direction right, the next thing you need to do is to apply speed. But however, do not apply speed when you are heading in the wrong direction. Why? You will only get there faster. You will get to the wrong destination faster. But beyond that, you must be able to experiment, explore, all right, stay curious, as it were, and be able to always challenge any, existing, practices or policy in an organization. Why? Because that is the only way you can grow as an individual or as an organization. And of course, taking risk is very important. And of course, either performance risk, in other words, you can evaluate new things that you have never done before. You want to seek new activities and you want to deploy your mind, deploy yourself, and ensure that you do something. And you are, by the way, what are the goals that you have set for yourself this year? Have you done anything new outside of what you did in 2022 for your organization? That is one. Interpersonal risk taking. Have you done anything that you have not done last year for yourself this year? Not even for your organization. If you haven't, these are critical questions that you need to begin to ponder upon in order for you to develop your learning agility. And of course, collaboration. Nobody that has a meaningful vision that would not require at least collaboration, cooperation, and support from other people in order to accomplish it. So what it means is that you must find ways to always work with others. And information gathering, you need information in order to do what? To move ahead in your business, move ahead in your career. And feedback seeking. Somebody said, and rightly so, that feedback, are breakfast of champions. To want to stay ahead of career, you want to stay ahead of your peers, you want to stay recognized and relevant in your organization, you must be open to feedback. In fact, you must seek feedback. As a matter of fact, do you know that on quarterly basis, I make it a point of duty to always at least call one person and ask that person to tell me 4 things. Tell me, given all that you know about me, all that you know about my career, all that you know about my business, all that you know about my person, all that you know about me. Tell me one thing that you would love for me to start doing that will make me to be a better person. Tell me one thing that you want me to stop doing that will make me a better person or more effective person. Tell me something that you think I'm doing right and you want me to do more that will still make me to be a better person. And the last one, tell me something that you want me to do less. Trust me, if you carry out this exercise 4 times a year, and people that you respect, people that you know that they will not sugarcoat anything for you, trust me, your progress will be trackable. You'll be able to see yourself moving forward. And the last but not the least is reflecting. Your ability to reflect and to carry out self-evaluation will be very important in your career, as it were. So if you want to adapt learning agility rather, all right, these are the 10 things that I believe that everyone on this call, you have to start doing. So in other words, pack all these 10 things and put them under that quadrant of start doing, all right? If you are doing any one of them already, put them under do more. There is none of them that you should have under stop doing, and there is none of them that you should have under do less. You must have all of them plotted under your start doing or do more. And the first on the list is embrace a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the mindset that believes that there is more to conquer. All right, there is a lot more that you can still achieve. There is no day that I develop any concept, even this presentation, I will make sure that I run it through somebody before I deliver it to the client. Do you understand? Because what it means is that somebody else might see what you are not seeing. And guess what? You would grow. You can only improve the quality of what you have developed. And I always say that if it doesn't make sense to you, don't give it to somebody to review. It must first and foremost make sense to you before you give it to somebody else. So each time you bring something to someone else to review for you, let it be that it has made sense to you before you give it to that person. And of course, be curious and open-minded. Number 3, seek diverse experiences. And number 4, make learning a long life habit. Number 5, develop self-awareness. Self-awareness is one of the key components of emotional intelligence. And it simply means that man know thyself. Knowing thyself will help you to know your strengths and your weaknesses, and you'll be able to know how to deploy your strength and also edge against your weaknesses as much as you can. Number 6, be open to receiving feedback. Be open, whether constructive or otherwise. You are the one that will now be able to sift what is constructive for you from it, but never be defensive. As a matter of fact, feedback is a gift. Anytime anybody calls you, what you can never do to the giver of a gift, never do it to somebody that calls you to give you feedback. Number 7, cultivate problem-solving skills. Number 8, network and collaborate. Go outside of your comfort zone. Reach out to other people in other industry, in other companies, in other organizations. Join communities. You know, somebody says that we are living in a world right now that content is king. Do you agree? They say content is king, but community is queen. Yes. So if you have content and you don't have community to showcase your content in, definitely you can't go anywhere. So ladies and gentlemen, number 9 said, be willing to step out of your comfort zone. And if there's anything I would like everybody on this call to drop on the chat for me right now, say step out of your comfort zone. Even in that office, what are you doing constantly to improve what you do? What have you done in order to make that customer to be delighted about your service and service delivery? What is it? Please drop it in the chat room. I need everybody. Say step out of your comfort zone. Your comfort zone can never ever help you to grow. It will only keep you stagnated. I can't see any comment in the chat room. I need you to drop it here because I'm bringing this home. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Then number 10, take action and apply what you have learned. You know why that is important? I say it and write it down or take note of it. Acquisition of information without application will always lead to constipation. Acquisition of information. So all that we have discussed this evening is acquisition of information, all right? And without application will only lead to frustration or lead to constipation. It's like a case of you going to the restaurant, like I described for you that we are coming into the restaurant today. and this is what we have on the menu. Imagine that you have had a very sumptuous meal, very delicious menu and all of that, and you get home, you are not able to process it, you are not able to digest it, and you are not able to pass it out. What will happen to you? That's constipation. So there can be knowledge constipation as well, whereby you know so much, but we can see very little result from what you know. So that is what some people say, that empty barrel make the loudest noise. So in your mind, you think that you know so much, all right? But the only way that we can validate what you know is through your performance. So when people go for training, and I say that the only way we can validate that learning happened during your training is when we begin to see changes in your behavior, changes in your approach, changes in your performance. Ladies and gentlemen, what next after this conversation today? What next? The very first thing, because we are talking about learning. How else do you learn if you are not acquiring information, if you are not acquiring knowledge? So get online, ladies and gentlemen. And if there's anywhere you can start from, I know that Dexnova has a very robust e-learning platform or online learning platform. And I believe that they also have, varieties of courses that you can subscribe to right on that platform without leaving the comfort of your home or the comfort of your office. You can enroll for those programs, search for them, and invest in yourself, invest in your personal development. Beyond taking courses, read books. Read books. And as a matter of fact, I have about 3 books I'm recommending for you on the same subject. Because again, when I was in my former bank, I always tell people that yes, the organization will train you. All right, at best they will give you maybe 4 days training or 5 days training in a year. 5 days training out of 365 days in a year. Excuse me, that is grossly inadequate. Grossly inadequate. So you must take your learning, into your hands. All right, you must take ownership of your learning, as it were. And that is why beyond enrolling for courses, you must also invest in buying books. Buy books, read books. All right, readers are leaders. Okay, and there's no how you read. When you read, you explore the world. When you read, you travel wide. When you read, you gain knowledge of places where others have been that you have not been to. So, ladies and gentlemen, the networking and mentoring is important. All right, you must identify people that you can learn from. You know what my mentor told me? My mentor told me that, see, every human being is like a food. So I've presented myself as food to all of you tonight, and you have tasted of my delicacy. Now, you, Pius, you are food to some people that always look up to you for insight, for ideas, all right, for information. So you are food to them. But interesting thing is this, food does not say, come and eat me. When you go into a restaurant for a buffet, for instance, all right, the food will not start talking to you. You are the one that will use your eyes to assess the food on the menu and say, oh, let me take this, let me take that, let me take that. You will pick them in proportion, all right, that you want in your plate, and you go and devour it because that is what you desire. In other words, if you don't present yourself, if you don't develop yourself by looking for people that you can network with, whereby you can eat from them, you can draw from them, you can leverage on their own insights in order to pace your career, trust me, you will not be able to go far, all right? Because mentors also need mentors, all right? That's why we have mentor of mentors, and that's why we have coach of coaches. I have a mentor and I have a coach. My mentor is different from my coach, and my coach is different from my mentor. And I think I will advise you also, in order to advance your career, to accelerate your career, you must of a necessity find the right network and find some mentoring program you can sign up for. And by the way, you can sign up if you are in the same career path with me. I do that. I have people in my community also that I do mentor, and it will be my pleasure if anybody deem it fit that want to reach out, we can have that conversation. And the last but not the least, develop an action plan for leveraging learning agility to accelerate your career. First one is what? Conduct self-assessment. Set clear goals for yourself. As a matter of fact, people say set SMART goals. But I would say to you, set SMART goals. At the end of that, your SMART, which I believe everybody knows what SMART goal stands for, your goal must be specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound. But behind time-bound is I, and let your goal also be inspirational. Why? Sometimes the reason why people fail to execute their goals is because they get burnt out in the process. But no matter how burnt out you are, if that thing inspires you, that inspiration on its own will force you, all right, and bring you back on your feet. And last but not the least, identify learning opportunities and make sure that you plug into it as much as possible. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, in a world of change, the learners shall inherit the earth, while the learned shall find themselves perfectly suited for a world that no longer exists. You get what is, you get the message here. It means that learning must be continuous. You can't be a learner of yesterday. You have to be you have to be somebody that is committed to a lifelong learning, as it were. So remember, learning agility is a powerful tool to accelerating your career success. And when you stay motivated and embrace challenges, and will never stop learning. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe that our conversation tonight must have at some point achieved some level of shift in your thinking, shift in your mindset, because for you to grow in life, you must get to the point whereby you elevate your thinking and you will elevate your life. Thank you so much, Dex Nova, for giving me this very opportunity and privilege to have this conversation around the topic of leveraging learning agility in order to accelerate your career success. I wish you guys the very best in your career. God bless you.
All right. Wow, 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 wow. Thank you so much, Mr. Shola Oyegbade. Please, can we put up, use an emoji, use a smiley to, express how you feel concerning what you have learned tonight. All right, let's appreciate Mr. Shola. Let's, roll out all the emojis to appreciate him. All right, I told you earlier, I said you were in for a very interesting engagement. Thank you so much, sir. Yes, when we put out the date for this webinar and discovered that it was—
Thank you, Otolori. Thank you.
All right. So when we discovered that it was just after the holiday, we were not too sure whether we were going to, get people from the comfort of just coming from the holiday to attend such webinar. But I can tell you tonight, those who have attended, who have sacrificed this time, who have invested this time, I can tell that you have gotten value for your money or for your time, as the case may be. All right. So at this point in time, I want to quickly spare the next 5 minutes, 5 minutes or thereabout. I know it's been more like a discussion. The facilitator has engaged us. It's been a two-way conversation. We've been engaged, we've been, interacting, and, so at this point in time, I want to leave the floor for some questions and answers before we wrap up. You can pop up the questions in the chat box, and if you are led, you can unmute yourself. Just signify by raising up your hand, using the icon, so that we can recognize you and have you ask your question. The floor is open to you. The button has been given to you. Your questions, and we will do justice to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, pop up your questions in the chat box. If it's an experience of what you learn, your take home from today's session, you can just pop it up. Tell us the things you are taking away from this session, from this webinar. You can pop it up on the chat box, or you raise your hand to speak, and we will recognize you. The floor is open. We are waiting.
I can't see any question.
Okay.
And whilst we are still expecting people to ask questions, if there are any questions, if you don't mind, I always love to be able to just have some pictures with my with the audience. All right, if you don't mind, you can bring up your cameras. I'll just quickly do a snapshot of it. Otolori Tobiloba, please go ahead. Your hand is up. And Pius, is it okay for them to bring up their camera just for this period?
Why not? If their location is okay, they can do that.
If you are not in pajamas, please bring up your camera.
Okay.
Otolori, go ahead, please. Oh, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So Otolori, okay, please, you can ask your question. We can see your hand up.
Yeah, David, thank you for that. That's a very good one. Learn, unlearn, and relearn. When you stay in that state of mind, trust me, your growth will become unhindered. Nobody will be able to stop you. Thank you.
Okay, Otolori, we saw your hand up. Or we
Maybe
can
it's an
see your hand
accident. I'm not sure she's.
Okay, if it's not deliberate, you can put it down. Okay, so Ijoma has a question.
How do we undo motivation of staff in this difficult time? No idea of how to cultivate the problems solving skill. All right. Okay. So thank you very much, Otolori. All right, the first thing I'm going to say to you, when it comes to motivation, there are two types of motivation. There is intrinsic motivation and there is extrinsic motivation. The intrinsic motivations are the motivation that comes from within the individual. And why the extrinsic motivation comes from the third party, all right, external to you. Now, if you want to motivate people, I made mention of that emotions drive people and people drive performance. Most organizations, most times they neglect the emotional state or the emotional needs or the emotional requirement of their employees, and thinking that it is only by throwing more money, all right, which of course is important, or by doing some things externally that would make people to stay. No, the new world that we find ourselves today, people are beginning to ask beyond money, they're asking for meaning. So if you can give your employees meaning, all right, a sense of ownership, a sense of belonging within the organization, and they can see a future for themselves in that organization, whether through what you have communicated or through what you have demonstrated, trust me, you will realize that they will be more committed to you, to your organization, much more than anything else. And secondly, in terms of ideas on how to cultivate the problem-solving skill, let me tell you today, if you can embrace this, and I want you, Otolori, type this in the chat room for me. Say that I am a Sam, S-A-M, I am a Sam, I'm a Sam. Sam, you know, I'm not talking about Sam Adeyemi, the preacher, all right? But S-A-M, please, somebody is disturbing my door. Let me quickly get that door open, please. The person is disturbing. So sorry, guys. The person just kept, knocking, so I needed to go and open it. So, have you written it, Otolori? Put in the chat room, I'm a Sam, and I will break it down for you what that means. And that's what you're going to need. Yes, I'm a Sam. So I'm a Sam. The moment you start thinking like a Sam, trust me, you will always be able to solve problems no matter what comes your way. Because the Sam simply means that you have made up your mind to always solve the problem. All right. And you always make up your mind to address the issues. And you have made up your mind to ensure that you manage the situation. Most times in the organization, many people always run away from the problem. People don't attack the issues, they always attack the persons. And most of the time, people don't manage situation, rather they escalate the situation. If you can maintain this mindset, whereby it is abundantly clear to people around you, that when you are looking for a son, somebody that is truly a problem solver, all right, somebody that is always addressing issues, and somebody that is always managing situations, go to Otolori. It starts from the mind. So for you to be able to solve any problem, it must be a decision that you have made up your mind to be a problem solver, not a creator of problems. I don't know if that helped you. Whilst you are thinking whether that was helpful or not, I want to speak to Afonja Kemisola. Said, I learned that networking and mentoring is important. Oh, okay, it's not a question. Thank you, Afonja, for that. So, Otolori, was that helpful? If you find it helpful, please just drop check in the chat room for me. I am pretty demotivated in my job and it is affecting my duties. Okay, I have talked to my boss, but she has a way and a schedule of doing things. What do I do? Now, let me first deal with that first statement. All right, let me deal with that first statement. You are pretty demotivated in your job. All right, that is a very, very powerful state that you find yourself, that you realize that you are pretty demotivated. Let me tell you one thing. Your motivation, and I would like whoever that person is, because I realize that more people are bearing Otolori on this call. I want you to drop it, that same person, type it in the chat room, that never leave your motivation in the hands of a third party. Never leave your motivation in the hands of a third party. As long as you are in that organization, all right, you owe it a duty unto yourself to stay motivated. And that's why I explained earlier on to the first person that motivation is both intrinsic and extrinsic. What you are looking for from your supervisor is the extrinsic motivation. But what you have the capacity to demonstrate, what you have the capacity to deploy, what you have the capacity to unleash in your organization is your intrinsic motivation, whereby when you find the why behind what you do for that organization, trust me, you will be more motivated, much more than money that you are being paid. And by the way, if I'm going to bust the bubble of everybody on this call, please drop on the call for me, everybody. Type in that chat room for me, everybody, that do not work for salary. Stop working for salary. Stop working for salary. Do not work for salary. The moment you work for salary, you have automatically placed a ceiling and a cap on your capacity to grow. The moment you fix your mind on salary, and that you only give, all right, the level of performance that is equivalent or commensurate to the amount that you have been paid, you have just done yourself. That is Nigerian language I use. You have done yourself. You have not done your boss. You have done yourself. Because the reason is that if you are being paid 1 million naira per month, and all you do in terms of the quality of your deliverable, all right, when we measure it, when we evaluate it, all right, it comes to 1 million. And trust me, you are not going anywhere. But when they pay you 1 million and you give them deliverables of 5 million, 10 million, perhaps even 20 million, then you are just on your path to greatness. Why? Because any job you do, according to Oprah Winfrey said, the work you do is your personal autograph. Therefore, autograph your job with excellence. In other words, when you've seen artists, they will paint their picture, their painting, all right, and they will sign it. Nobody will ask them, how much did you pay this painter, this artist to paint this thing? Nobody will ask. Just, oh, lovely work. Oh, what a bad job. That's what people will say. They won't ask how much were you paid. So the same thing you need to begin to recognize in your organization, no matter how much you have been paid, give your best to be your best. And give more to be more. Until you give more, you can't be more. until you give your best, you can't experience your best, because the first beneficiary of your best is you, not your employer, not your client, not anybody around you. It is you. And that is why I always say to people, excuse me, try as much as possible, push yourself and go the extra mile, because each time you go the extra mile, you will always earn yourself the extra mark. Yes, anytime you go the extra mile, you will earn that extra mark. And please, before you start thinking, I've been going the extra mile, even my boss has not given me extra money. I'm not talking about that. The satisfaction that comes from being the only person that was able to solve that problem, because when you say you go the extra mile, it means that everybody stopped here, but you decided to go at least some steps, beyond that point where everybody stopped. The satisfaction, the experience that you gather in the process of going beyond where everybody stopped, nobody else can take it away from you. And that is the extra mark. Without going that extra mile, you can't earn the extra mark. So ladies and gentlemen, I think that should be able to solve the issue of motivation. Never ever leave your motivation in the hands of a third party. And anytime you think that you are helpless, please, everybody drop in this chat, if we're going to close on that note tonight, that helplessness is a choice. Drop it in the chat room for me. Everybody, and that should be the closing if I don't have any other question again. Helplessness is a choice, and I'm going to tell you, if you're in doubt, ask the 3 lepers. Anytime you say that you are helpless, because helplessness will lead to hopelessness. As a matter of fact, cluelessness always leads to helplessness. But the moment you learn, you are not going to be, you leave that realm of cluelessness. Anytime you learn, knowledge will always take you outside of being clueless. And the moment you are no longer clueless, your help has come. Your hope has come. And that's why anytime you say you are helpless, it is because you chose to be helpless. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, I want to believe that you should have a very reflective weekend, a weekend whereby coming back to work on Monday, you come refreshed and refired to be able to do what? To do something that you have never done before for your organization. You are coming back with a brand new mindset, a brand new attitude, a brand new disposition, and God bless you. So stay lifted, stay positive, and stay inspired. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Shola Oyegbade. We thought we had a nice time before the questions and answer. These question and answer segments just, put the icing on the cake. Thank you so much, sir. We really, really appreciate you. I think we should bring out all the emojis, a round of applause for our, how do I put it, prolific guest tonight. Thank you so much, sir. Let's put out the emoji. Let's commend Mr. Shola Oyegbade for this wonderful session. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you.
For me personally, one area that strikes me was the area where you spoke about having a coach and having a mentor. All right. If some of us who aren't really sure that we have either of them, either a coach or a mentor, that has rekindled a thought or a new level of thinking. If you haven't found one, this is the time for you to go look for a coach and look for a mentor. I'm sure some of us who attended this session tonight would find Mr. Shola Oyegbade either as a coach or as a mentor. So I'm sure if you come knocking, Mr. Shola will be glad to welcome you to his fold. Of course, getting a coach or a mentor in this time and age is not something that is easy to come by. So if you have Mr. Shola ready to take you either or to mentor you or to be your coach, that will be an honor. All right. So I want to thank each and every one of you. The time you have spent tonight, I can say that it is not one that you will want to regret. Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, this expose series, HRO expose series, is a series as the name implies. That means it is not a one-off. look out for our space. We'll be bringing many more such free webinar to you. And I'm sure we'll be glad to see Mr. Shola, in future or subsequent webinar. If you want to see Mr. Shola once again, please pop it on the chat box. Say, I look forward to seeing him in the future. All right. So thank you so much. I can see some persons that I know very well, some of my colleagues way back, at UNILAG during my MSc. I can see Esther Omokoro. I can see Afonja Kemisola. I think I saw Ijoma earlier. So I want to say thank you, every one of you that attended this free webinar. Thank you so much. I can see, I'm trying to mention a few of the names now. I can see Akin. Akin, thank you for attending. Quite a number of people use Otolorin Tobiloba because probably they use his own link to actually access the meeting. So we would have appreciated if you rename that so that we can see your name and welcome you or appreciate you properly. All right. Like Mr. Shola said earlier, we have series of programs that can help you kickstart or take your career to the next level at any level you are, whether at entry level, at mid-level, or even at the C levels. We have programs that can suit your career progression. It could be virtual, like we learned today. Learning agility is, it's all about how quick you are to respond to various learning techniques, learning platforms. These days, we have the virtual, we have the online, the self-paced, we have the physical classroom. If not for COVID that came to disrupt the way we learn, you wouldn't have been here right now attending this webinar. This can happen because there was a disruption and everybody or majority of the world migrated to virtual learning. So I want to urge you, it could be at any platform, on any platform, but if you are looking for programs that will enhance your career, Dexnova is your best shot, all right? Is your best bet to get that done. You can reach out to me if you have such needs, whether project management, business analysis, Agile, Scrum, leadership, communication, sales, and the likes. You can talk to us about that. You can talk to us on behalf of your organization. You can recommend, our services to your organization, and we'll be glad to come in and, bring such intervention that will ensure that you as an individual and your organization get the requisite knowledge and skills to actually, stay competitive and stay ahead of your competitors. All right. So at this point in time, I want to call it a night and to thank each and every one of us. Like the facilitator said, we'll be sharing this slide with you. If you haven't dropped your email addresses or you are yet to have any means by which we can reach you, you can reach out to me or reach out to the admin. You can drop your email address on the platform right now on the chat box so that we can share the slides and some other resources with you. And if need be, if the recording is available, we can also share with you. All right. So thank you so much. At this point in time, I know we have spent, quite close to 2 hours. I want to let each and every one of us go have the needed rest and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you so much. Thank you, one. Thank you all. All right. Bye. All right.
Bye.
Yeah, ST, bye. Kemi, thank you for coming. All right. Chisom, thanks for coming.